Today is Saturday, November 13th, 2021. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 41, Week 8.
Down to Week 8, more than halfway through. And I saw something said the season's going to wrap up on December 15th with a 3-hour episode.
Ooh,
so
okay.
We're kind of in a countdown. I'm confused, though, because the Rebus puzzle thing's only showing 3 more clues. But that would put us at, 5 more episodes, potentially, to get out to the 18th? If we continue to get one every Wednesday? All right. It's throwing me off a little bit.
Okay.
You don't know
sure
where to go with that?
Okay.
Well, I expected the Rebus puzzles to keep going all the way, and then, to have
They got to end somewhere.
At the I guess they would have to end at least one before for the reveal or whatever the answer for the last episode for the finale. But we're here
maybe that is where they end it. If they have 3 more of them, then they'll end it on the 4th week, and then we'll have the finale the 5th week out.
Oh, with the clue after that. Yeah, that could play out that way, huh? All right. Anyway, that was on my mind. We were just watching the Rebus puzzle video.
I know you got all caught up in that.
Yeah, and so that, I guess that was on my mind. But we're here to talk more specifically with other super fans to get their thoughts and their predictions after the Week 8 episode that we just saw, and see how that goes. How many did we end up having this week?
23.
23. So it's a little down from the big episode last week. Well, actually, it's a lot down. But that's to be expected, right? We went from 35 to 23.
Yeah, and not everybody was as happy with
this
episode,
one. I think that's what we're going to hear. It's a mixed bag. Some are, it's great, and then some are, bummer, didn't quite do it for me, that kind of thing. So we got as usual, we have a spectrum. We got a range of feedback to share and dig into. Anything else?
That. No, let's get to it.
First up, we got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling. Wow. Again, I think this season is living up to its expectations. Though I'm a little distraught with the outcome, but not too disappointed. I'm going to let out a great big and see you later, that crazy woman Tiffany, but I didn't see it coming. I want to talk about Xander here. What in the world was he smoking there? I do like his strategy when he gave up the reward for Erica, this and that, but then, not that he knew, Probst laid out the advantage, and the way the edit looked, I thought he was going to sneak and grab it, and he pulled a Michaela from Game Changers. I mean, come on. Now, I don't know how much he was looking that we didn't see based on the edit, but that could be a catastrophic mistake there, him not looking. Oh, Xander, precious, come on, Xander. That's my Gollum impression there for you. Oh, he has a precious idol. He could have had another advantage because they're out for him. But man, guys, Nazir, I think, going to get his head straight, too. I mean, hearing his name being thrown under the bus, that's going to be a red flag. And Heather, Purple Heather finally spoke, and she even caused havoc at Tribal, and it was for nothing because Tiffany was the one that went home after all that. I thought she was going to be the one to get rid of Nazir. I don't know what was said, but the person guy, Shan, now I don't know, they want us to think she's in trouble, but that's probably a misdirect. Right now, guys, I thought Shan was playing a good game, even though I don't sort of agree with it, but I think now she'd be a perfect go, because she's pissing a lot of people off, like she's doing her own alliance with Deshaun and Danny, this and that. I I think she's going to get no votes if she's in the end. And honestly, if she's at the end with Ricard somehow, I wouldn't be surprised if Ricard beats her, or even if it's Deshawn or anyone. But I still think Evie, Xander, they got a big hill to climb. We'll see what happens. And we saw something from Heather. But man, I don't know, my head's spinning. I don't know how on earth they still got rid of Tiffany. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to the Ponderosa clip, if they show it, I hope. I'm hoping for a big blind sight next week, and I'm shocked no idols were played. But that's going to change soon, I feel like. Take care, guys. Woo!
Thanks, Pete. We did indeed get a Ponderosa clip, although the only place we saw it was on Facebook, right? I couldn't find it on the CBS site or on their YouTube channel. That was kind of odd. But you saw it on Facebook, so
I did.
I popped in there.
And you tried every other way to see it.
I did,
before.
because I didn't think they would do something like that. But evidently they did. Maybe they put it out some other place too. But
You didn't find it yet. So.
yeah. What did you think of her Ponderosa clip?
I liked it. I thought it showed a little bit different side of her. She did complain about things, of course. But I don't know, she seemed way more pleasant and approachable, I think, than sometimes when she was playing the game.
Yes, she was very resentful, and she,
Who wouldn't be?
like Pete was talking about, she couldn't understand why they didn't flush an idol in the process.
I don't quite understand
why was it?
that.
Yeah, why was just the focus on getting her out?
I do think that Ricard was trying, and I think that was
Badly.
Heather's.
Yeah.
I think that was Heather's purpose, was to try to get Nasir to play his.
I guess that could have been a side effect of what she was doing, for sure. Yeah.
And maybe she
Would have been
even talked
natural,
to
right?
other people about it. But she, if she did, I think she kind of missed her cue there.
Yeah, and some other folks have some things to say about that. And according to some of the stuff I read in Tiffany's interviews, she believes that Heather was trying to save her. It was just such a mismanaged attempt that anyway, the execution was extremely poor. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Massachusetts calling in with my feedback for this week. Overall, my impression of this episode was chaos and confusion, but I'll start with some of the high points first. I thought that it was really kind of Xander to forego the reward challenge and allow Erica to play, especially once he saw the teams and probably knew they were most likely going to win, although I agree that puzzle can always go any which way, especially when you remember the Edge of Extinction challenge with Wentworth and Lauren and how they came back. But I also thought it really was strategic in that it garners favor with Erica, and it also, like he said, wanting to hang out with the losers. They have a grudge to settle. So I thought that was really smart. When I feel like we're seeing a lot of Xander's more wise moves in the past few episodes, and I enjoy it. My instincts on this episode, rather, were totally off. So first of all, in terms of who was stepping out from the challenge, in my head I'm going, Heather, step out. You're never going to win. Step out. What are you doing? At least you can eat or help the tribe to eat. And then she goes and is second to last. I had Evie going home. She wins immunity and she's safe. And then at the very end, going into tribal, I fully thought Heather just blew up her own game. What she did was pretty stupid and not well thought out, if it really was spur of the moment. And it seemed like she was going home. But then all the votes went on Tiffany anyway. So it makes me think, was it staged or not even staged, but just the way that it's edited, it makes you think it's going to be some crazy vote, and then it all goes back to Tiffany, so the original plan stayed in place anyway. So I don't know, I just feel like I'm either not following or I'm missing something. We're missing something as viewers, where I know what people are saying or what we see them saying, but then when it comes down to voting, it's all pretty cut and dry, and it's just like the Yase 3 are on the outs and that's it. So I want to see if there's more interpersonal mingling and drama and fracturing, or will people just stay in their alliance because it's the quote-unquote safe thing to do. Again, I said this last week, I think Nasir, Heather, and or Erica should flip with the Yase 3, now 2. That would make it quite an exciting second half of the merge. But I'll miss Tiffany. I thought she was great. I thought she had a really nice arc, and I think she'll make a great Queen of Ponderosa, so she'll be welcoming new people for for the rest of the season. I hope everyone has a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Christiana. Yes, Tiffany agrees with you that she is a great queen of Ponderosa. She celebrated herself quite a bit in that regard in that Ponderosa video.
And she was thrilled. She lost 16 pounds.
Yes, I guess she was probably most proud of that, even expressing some desire to go back out to Yase Beach so that she could
lose a little
more. Yeah, enough to make her girlfriends jealous, she said.
I see.
Mm-hmm. Thanks again, Christiana. Next up, we got a call from Jean.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Jean N. from Northwest Arkansas. It's been a few years since I have sent any feedback in, but I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to celebrate my very first time ever to be in first place in the JSFL.
Yeah.
I had Xander as my vote-off person, but changed my mind at the last minute yesterday and switched to Tiffany, and I'm so glad I did. And I also had Eric as my USB, and I figured she wouldn't last much longer, so I went back and forth between Deshawn and Chantal, and I picked Shan at the last minute. But now, after last night's episode, I'm a little concerned that she may not last as long as I thought she would. So needless to say, I will not last long in first place, but I'm going to enjoy it while I can. Thanks for all you do, and have a great day.
Awesome. I love you called in to share that. That was great. Thanks, Gene. Next up, we got an email from Erin in Canada. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. I enjoyed this episode. It just seemed like a typical Survivor episode, to be honest, as no new advantages were played or anything, and there was a standard reward and immunity challenge. This allowed for enough time for strategy back at the camp, which I always enjoy most. I had to giggle that as soon as everyone switched their USB to Shan, she started to crumble and unravel. All right, you celebrate my misery. Do not get in between her and her papaya. Ricard and Shan fight like brothers and sisters, but like siblings, they'll probably stay loyal and stick with each other regardless of their squabbles. I think if Shan continues to lose reward challenges, lack of food will be detrimental to her game. I can't imagine being that hungry, and I'm sure it would take its toll eventually. People are finally starting to realize that it has been the Shan show, and I was so proud of Deshawn for calling her out. I do not think he will allow her to push him around, which will be interesting to watch. Hopefully his willingness to stand up will cause him to prevail and not put a target on his back. I think that if Heather, Evie, Xander, Nasir, and Deshawn put their differences aside, they could collectively get Shan out of the game and flush idols at the same time. I doubt that will happen. I think Nasir blindly trusts Shan, Liana, and Ricard, and they are just happy to be part of the majority. I actually think Xander or Deshawn have potential to win the game if they play their cards correctly. They showed some strong gameplay in this episode, from sticking up to Shan to opting out of challenges for the tribe. In closing, I will miss Tiffany's eye rolls. So happy that she'll be on the jury, so we'll see more of that in the future. Oh, and Heather, after 41 seasons of Survivor, when Jeff announces it's time to vote, he means exactly that. Have a great week. Thanks, Erin. One of the things that Tiffany mentioned in her interviews was that they truly fell apart. Tiffany, Evie, and Xander all were playing individual games. She said Xander wouldn't even talk to her. There wasn't even an option to discuss things. So he must have been pretty upset after finding out how they had played him.
Well, and I think he saw he was on a sinking ship, and he doesn't want to have any association with them. He wants to recruit new alliance, and so he's going to try to...
That's tough. I think the best strategy is to try to always keep doors open, even though it doesn't feel good, even though you just found out someone betrayed you. It just limits your options too much, and you never know when you might need someone.
Doesn't mean you can manage the emotions in the
That's
time.
true. Absolutely. Thanks again, Erin. Next up, we got a call from Michelle.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and all my feedback fans, or not my fans, fans of the show. Anyway, were you all as surprised as I was when the three former Yase, Xander, Evie, and Tiffany didn't hang together after they pulled that off last week? They should have just stuck together and told everyone they were going separate. That's what I thought was happening at first. But then as the show went on, I saw that, no, they were being stupid and they weren't going to stay together. So then we get to the reward challenge. Xander offers to sit out, and I knew right away that he was going to look for an idol on the bench. I thought, well, maybe he's already seen it, and he's going to go sit down and pluck it off. No, that wasn't the case. He was looking. He started looking. As soon as they started playing the game, he kind of leaned back and put his hand down, and I thought for sure he was going to grab it. But through the whole thing, no, he didn't find it. He didn't see it. I couldn't believe it. That totally shocked me. And then, of course, when Tiffany got voted out, that was my new USB, for God's sake. Dang it. I screamed. I was so upset. I don't know what's going to happen to any of them anymore. I give up on trying to figure out what's going to happen. This season has just been total chaos from start to finish. Too many advantages, too much nonsense, not enough just plain old idols. Why can't they just go back to plain idols? My favorite season was when Russell was finding idol after idol after idol, and I loved it. That was fun. But this season, nobody seems to even be looking, at least not that they're showing us. That's about it for this week. I'm just disgusted. Hope next week is better. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Oh, sorry, Michelle. That is tough. Yep, that happens. Michelle's not the only one that we'll hear from that had that happen to him.
Yeah, I don't expect them to put any more idols in play unless at least one or two of the current ones, since there's 3 already in the game. They're going to have to use some of those before they'll put out another idol, I think.
That's historically been the case. We'll see if they...
But this is a new season.
Yeah, sure, the monster, blah, blah. Oh, all right. Thanks, Michelle. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California. I loved this episode. It was wonderful. I loved that Xander finally realized that those ladies were not on his side. He tried to do so many things to show that he was worthy of aligning with him and playing with him. And all I have to say is, will somebody please work with Xander? Oh, my God. He's willing to give up food. He's willing to give up his immunity. He's willing to do anything to show you that he's worthy to play with. And I think Xander's kind of the unsung hero of this season because he's so nice and he's so trusting. And he's actually honest in the game, which doesn't always get you very far. And then we've got Evie, who talks so fast to everybody, trying to talk her way out of trouble. I started to feel like she was trying to sell everybody a used car. And then Tiffany. I was glad to see Tiffany go. And not only because she was my vote out, and I got 2 points, which I actually put my arms up in the air and yelled, yay! While I was watching it. I just didn't find her trustworthy. I felt like she was a bit of a blabbermouth. I watched some of her extra clips, and I just found her kind of self-serving and a little braggadocious, just saying like, oh, everything was my idea, everything was my idea. And here's what I have to say, because Ricard says this about Sham. These are my ideas, but she's the one making the moves. I think there's a huge difference between having an idea and being the one to implement it. You're taking all the risk if you're actually the one to implement it. Hey, great to have an idea and float it to somebody, but actually taking the action is, I think, far more worthy in this game than just being like, I got an idea. And then we finally hear from Heather. That was crazy. It reminded me of the scene in The Breakfast Club where Ali Sheedy doesn't say anything the whole movie, and then when she finally does, she just blows up Molly Ringwald's entire game with like one sentence. And I just kept being like, you don't say anything for 6 weeks, Heather, and then you want to blow up tribal council? I don't get it. I don't understand where that came from. Didn't understand what she was going for, and don't understand what's going to happen next. Did she just really make a huge error? Are people still going to be with her? I don't know. Looking forward to next week. I don't think Shan's going anywhere next. I really don't. I sometimes feel like they drop a little bit of a red herring when they show what's coming up next, and I think showing people being like, I don't know about her is just, I think it's just a red herring. I don't think she's going anywhere. She has such deep alliances in the game. She's really good. Yeah, she needs to pull it back a little bit. I like how my USB Danny's playing. He's still under the radar. I hope he goes far. I hope he wins. Can't wait to hear what everybody else has to say. You guys have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Rebecca. That's great. You can see the spectrum, the disappointment from Michelle to the exultation from Rebecca. It goes your way, it doesn't go your way. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Shan's in as much trouble as they wanted us to think either.
No?
No, I keep thinking that.
Don't think those chickens are coming home to roost yet?
I don't think so yet. I think, actually, I'm afraid that Shan, Ricard, Liana, Nasir, and Xander are going to be a group of 5, and all they need is one other person to pull in, and they're golden.
And then it pivots away from Deshaun,
That's
who's
what I'm
looking like he
concerned
could
about.
win. Also, like Rebecca was saying, her USB's
or be
Danny.
the next vote out. So
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, Danny is definitely, he's gone against expectations in that he's a professional athlete and he's excelling at the game. And you don't often get to see that. He's just doing fantastic.
Well, that's why I'm worried about both of them, because I like both of them. I would like to see either one win, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm just worried for them at this point.
Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback. First things first, let's talk about new USBs. And Stacy, I feel you. After much deliberation, I decided against picking Xander as my new USB. I just thought it would be too difficult a road for him to get to the finale, so I begrudgingly picked Shan. More than anyone else, Shan seemed to be in control of the game. And while there was hints of her being difficult to work with, I had no inkling that less than 24 hours after picking her, I'd come to regret that decision. Shan, what's going on? Are you going hungry and turning into a monster, or are you a monster that happens to be hungry? Her anecdote comparing Survivor to how she treats her congregation as a pastor was a little bizarre and had authoritarian vibes to it. At least she was correct in a way, because it seemed to mimic how she's treating people in the game. It's her way or the highway, and I have a feeling that everyone else is going to be on the highway, leaving her in their dust. On to the challenge, there's not too much to say. Once again, it seems like the team's pick dictated the outcome of the challenge. And I'm curious what the advantage that Xander missed was. Do you guys think it was the knowledge of power back in play? Since I dished out lots for Shan, I think it's time for Ricard to get some. Ricard, what the heck were you thinking? Do you need to have therapist Jeff give you some sensitivity training? You just ate grilled cheese and chips, and you're going to take food away from all these people that are starving. It's terrible optics, and I don't blame Shan for being pissed at all. What Ricard seems to lack in empathy, he makes up in his smugness. At the immunity challenge, I wasn't a fan of the bartering. I just want to see people play. And if rice was just given to them for basic sustenance, there wouldn't be a need for bartering, and survivors would have a bit more energy to compete better in the challenges. Just think of some of the great endurance challenges that we've seen in past seasons and the epic outcomes after more than an hour of them struggling, like Christian on David versus Goliath. We're missing out on moments like that because people are starving, and it doesn't really make the game more entertaining. I hated Tribal Council. When Jess says it's time to vote, in my opinion, it's time to vote, and Heather seemed almost giddy when she started to do her whispering, and it brought my blood to a boil. And I kind of worried that these new live tribal councils are now the standard, and I don't like it. I had Heather as my save point this week, but in that moment, I just wanted her gone. Her plan was to create chaos, and it nearly backfired, and I hope next week she goes home. So many of us fans are craving a more traditional game of Survivor. You know, just bring back normal idols, maybe have some advantages, but keep them sparse. Give them some rice, and I think also have some decorum at Tribal Council, and that's it. If we can have more, maybe have rites of passage, Survivor auction, or the intro with the ancient voices. But anyway, I guess I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed writing this feedback. I still enjoyed the episode, but there's just some things I didn't care for, but I'm still excited to see what happens next week and see whether my new USB completely implodes or not. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye for now.
Thanks, Robert. That's classic Survivor fan. I didn't like that. Please give me more. I want more. Just do better next time.
Yeah.
Good deal. Next up, we got a call from Boother.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor fans. This is Boother calling in on vacation from Charleston, South Carolina. The edit appears to be highlighting Xander's strategic gameplay in this episode. At the reward challenge, he volunteered to sit on the bench to let Erica have a chance to win the food reward. While on the bench, he had the opportunity to find another advantage. Even though he was looking for something, he missed it and didn't see it. That's too bad. I was rooting for him. At the immunity challenge, Xander stepped up to renegotiate with Jeff in order to receive enough rice to feed the tribe for 3 days. Fortunately, Nazir stepped up with him to complete the deal. I guess I'm old-fashioned, but I really like those two guys. On the other hand, Heather's antics at Tribal Council bothered me, as it seemed to serve no purpose, as the votes stayed the same. I'm hoping she will be voted off soon. However, I think Evie and Xander will be on the chopping block again next week. That's it for me. Bye.
Thanks, Boother. I forgot Robert asked what we thought the advantage was that he missed. Do you think it was knowledge is power coming back?
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think so. I want to think they realized even at that point that it was a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't want to see anybody with that much power.
I think it was probably still a vote, because they do those kind of minor things, because the votes are so important at this point. And if those type of advantages ever did work, they could work in a meaningful way to that end.
Okay.
Still a vote or an extra vote are probably the most common
Or something completely
answers.
new.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks, Boother. Next up, we got an email from Nicky in Florida.
This group of people, good grief. I have been watching since season 1, and I know the game has changed over the years, but why would you vote out someone instead of trying to flush out an idol? There are 3 idols. You would usually want to flush them out, but not this group. They don't seem to care about them. Shan seems like she wants it her way or no way, and the players just allow it, but still complain about it. The players are all over the place. No real alliance. Each week it's different. Voting out Tiff didn't seem like the best move, as she's not a high threat. She knew what to do to play the game, but the others, I'm not sure what they're doing. It makes it hard to choose who will be voted out. I'm not a fan of this season. Last week, Liana should have known that Xander would not have the idol on him. That was a wasted opportunity. I shall continue to watch. Just want the game survivor back to how it should be played. So in between, I was watching Australian Survivor, and it's a lot more entertaining. They did it last year for 45 days. Anyway, I look forward to hearing what everyone else has to say. All right, thanks, Nikki. Up next, we have audio from Ann and John.
Hi, I'm John.
And I'm Ann. I had to change my USB. Of course, JD got voted out early on. And I changed mine to Tiffany, and then she got voted out the same episode. Who did you pick for yours, John?
I picked a random person, and I got Deshaun.
All right, he's looking pretty good, don't you think?
Yeah, and also Evie may be in danger of getting voted out, maybe. And also, the whispering was kind of weird at the tribal council.
Did you like it?
No. Also, it wasn't fair at all that only half of the people got to eat at the merge feast and stuff. And Ricardo's one of them, and Ricardo got a grilled cheese, and Ricardo also ate a piece of the papaya.
Would you ever do that?
No.
No, me either. Everybody knows that.
Horrible.
You can't do that. It goes back to like the banana gate with James eating the bananas in an earlier season. Everybody got so mad at him. You have to even ask before you can eat any of the fruit because it's so rare.
I know.
We wish the other people could eat because we think that they would play better.
Yeah, since it's just looking like half of the people are going to win and half of the people are going to lose. Because like, oh, I'm so tired, I can't eat any good food. It's no fair that the other people can eat. It's horrible.
Yeah, like Xian seems so hungry, like she's losing her mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't even win on the grilled cheese.
Nope. Or the merge feast or anything, really.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, well, John.
That's what we have. Bye!
Thank you.
Okay, 2 more things I just thought of. One, it would be awesome in this season if the awesome roster could have who has gotten to eat, like a little dot for who's gotten to eat so far, because it seems to be making a huge difference. I started keeping track myself just because I think it's really impacting people. The other thing is, to me, when they are having these whisper tribal councils, it just reminded me of you're going to a concert and there's a set list that you expect. And then all of a sudden, a guest performer wants to change it and decides to argue with the lead performer on the stage while the audience is there waiting, but nothing ultimately happens because that guest performer is not in charge of the show. So basically, they're just wasting your time, and the audience is just there watching the argument. That's kind of how it feels like to me. I would much rather have more camp life or even more sea turtles, or if Jeff wants to keep talking to us, maybe he could just have a advantage breakdown moment where he shows us a quick screenshot of the rules of a particular advantage, or gives us a website, so the rules behind Survivor, where he's like, here is the actual terms and conditions of these advantages, so you can actually figure it out if you want to for like the next level people who are interested in the show. Bye.
Oh, I like that idea. I wish they would do something like that, because some of those things they'll go the whole season and not fully explain them. And unless you do like we try to do, where you freeze frame the letters with the advantages or the idols and stuff, you'd never really know when they expire and all kinds of what other additional conditions. More information
than what they give during the show.
Yep, if he wants to break that wall, then I think Ann's onto something. Give us useful information.
That would be good.
Yep. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. Every episode, there's high points and low points. I wouldn't say it's a great episode. I wouldn't say it's like the worst episode. So it's just what it is, and it's there, and it's Survivor. So there's that. But I don't know. I think that it's losing itself quite a lot this season, and I don't think I'm alone in that. First things first, JSFL, and I'm not the only one here. I neglected to make a new USB pick. Now, hear me out, okay? Because, first of all, I just had no idea, and I was terrified. And the funny thing is, halfway through this episode, I would think that Tiffany would have been going to be my new de facto USB. And, of course, look what happened. So I'm just going to say I would have picked Tiffany, and she's gone anyway. But after that, I still like Danny, but I don't think he has a chance, because I don't think he's playing along well enough for Jeff's liking. And other than that, I don't know, it's going to be someone I don't like. So that is my thinking about the end result at this point. But a couple of quick things. I think Ricard continues to prove his smugness, but also a complete lack of self-awareness. But I don't know if it's that. I think he's just so smug that he doesn't even try. The thing with the papaya, whatever. But I mean, there's not a rule. It's not like a written rule in the world of Survivor on the papyrus scroll that hangs in Jeff's bathroom or anything. It's just common sense. Play it cool when you get back from a challenge, especially an eating challenge, especially when it's 10 feet away from everyone who's not eating. Be cool. Don't be stupid. So, one thing I wanted to say about Tribal Council, that seemed really off to me. Like the business of Heather, it's like she didn't know what Tribal Council is. It's like this is the part where we talk, right? Some people in the group are calling a little bit of theater as far as some of the things going on this week, especially at Tribal Council, and I'm thinking that sounds pretty likely. Heather was late to the punch. You know, she was supposed to bring that up before, and Jeff was like, come on, Heather. I think that they're trying to make Tribal Council as exciting and interesting as possible, and then they're just like, let's throw a wrench in the gears and see what happens. And that wrench is this week named Heather. And by the way, Jennifer Coolidge, anyone? Am I the only one? I can't be the only one. Final point, going along with the woke presentation of this season, the increasingly, considerably woke. Again, let me ask, what would happen if someone cheered on a teammate at a challenge by calling upon white girl magic? Or, better yet, white boy magic? Now, how would that go down? The final point, I'm not afraid of singing. It's true. I'm not undermining my own game. I'm not afraid of singing, but I am afraid of writing, because I just don't have that parody bone in me or something. I don't know. I just can't figure it out. But when it comes to that point, I guess I'll have to if it gets to that point, I should say. But the game's not over yet. Survivor, Season 41, or JSFL. All right, I'm all over the place today. Have a great weekend, everyone, and talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Drew.
You better start taking notes anyway, Drew. To jot down a few things during the season while it's fresh on your mind.
That might come in handy near the end. Certainly, I've used that process myself. Jennifer Coolidge for Heather, that's an actress. You'd recognize her if you saw a picture of her. So with the squinty eyes and the puffy cheeks, I get where you're going with that, but it's like a distant second, third cousin kind of effect. But I could see you're in the neighborhood on that reference. The woke reference, that's a false equivalency fallacy. that's apples and oranges. Those things aren't the same because of context, historical context. And I'll include a link to a previous Survivor's blog where she talks about her experience on the show as just one example of how dramatically different things are. And so, those things aren't even remotely the same. It's Julia Carter from a few seasons back on Exile Island, and what she was going through just recently, really, yeah. Anyway, it gives context to it. Those things aren't equivalent. I'm not buying that. And I like when you and I were talking about it, you mentioned girl power, just as a general saying. And I think it fits in that sort of a similar space when girls have historically not been encouraged to do certain activities or even certain professions, things like that. And I see nothing wrong with giving out some encouragement.
Oh, no, we do that all the time, girl power.
In that space. So I didn't take it as any different from that perspective.
Me neither.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you'll be able to come up with some genuinely funny parody lyrics, Drew. Okay.
Quit picking at Drew.
Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh, and it's been 2 weeks since I called in, and quite a lot's happened. A Survivor, I mean. From Erica turning back time to Xander faking out Liana and giving her a fake idol. There was so much and so many things that I had to keep watching a second time over and over again. But one thing I wanted to mention is that I keep seeing online or hearing that people feel these advantages have gone overboard and let's not do that again. And we're, hope season 42 is different. I actually have the opposite viewpoint. I think it would be a lot of fun to watch season 42 with the same advantages played in the same way and see how new players who have no knowledge of them play. Because we've seen in this season how often they've been misplayed. Liana and her knowledge of power, and how Deshaun wasted his extra vote, and Brad, I can't remember how many advantages Brad had, didn't seem to do him any good. So I'd love to see how a new cast would do with the same advantages. So that's something to think about. Also, I think I said 2 weeks ago that I was going to play with my head and not my heart now that I'm in the fantasy league, which I've never played before. And so what did I do? I switched my USB. I just don't think Ricard is going to make it to the end. He's always slithering in the background, and I just didn't like the way he was playing. I really didn't want to root for him. So I switched to Xander. I know. I don't think he's going to make it either, but just from the way he played so brilliantly, Liana, and how he saved Evie, and he's only in the game now because his team didn't lose the last several challenges. And as soon as they did, they were going to dump him. But now that Deshaun dropped the bomb about Evie's betrayal, I think Xander is going to be a free agent and possibly be able to work with other people. We'll see. When he sat out the challenge and kept looking for the advantage, I really believe he was going to find it, and we would see it in play later, and there'd be a little flashback to him finding it. But no, Jeff had to point out that he didn't find the advantage. So as the old Yes I Try begins to sink, I think Evie's going next. I'm hoping Xander can get a lifeline and manage to stay in it, but I'm sticking with my boy, playing with my heart. Talk to you next week. Bye.
All right. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Park from Indiana. I love this episode. I felt like everything really worked really well. The dilemma with the rice at the challenge, that was really fun because that's stuff we see. That's like a Survivor thing, is these dilemmas. And it's fun. And I love the little negotiation thing. Chantel and Xander have far superior negotiating skills to Angelina Keeley. There's no doubt about that. And I liked how everybody with an idol kind of sat out because they have protection in a way. And it seems like people are pretty scared to target people with idols. So it was a good call. And then Ricard just kind of jumped in because maybe to try and gain some favor back after eating papaya or whatever. That was really funny. I also loved when he gave the confessional about how he's never seen that on Survivor. There's food drama all the time on Survivor. People are so picky about food, Ricard. Of course, there's nothing specific like this. The probably closest thing is Courtney complaining about their reward in China and then people being mad about that. Food is a touchy subject in Survivor, so you can't test the waters. Going into Tribal, I was not happy. There wasn't a solid plan in place, and I hate when that happens. The whispering doesn't really change that much. Plans are in place already, and a last minute plan, like last minute plans right before Tribal Council, those tend to be the vote. But a plan hatched at Tribal Council, terrible decision. That'll just make people not trust you. And I think that's what Heather did. So I could definitely see her going next, but I also see her being a final Tribal Council goat. Now that Tiffany's gone, she was kind of the other option for an FTC goat at Tribal. It wasn't as exciting this week because it's so predictable. It's just Tiffany going. We could have gotten that at camp and it would have been fine. Yeah, next on, it looks like we're getting a Chantel versus Deshawn war, and I stuck with Deshawn as my winner pick, mainly based on the confessionals in last week, with Danny being really negative about the twist and Deshawn being like, okay, we got to adapt to this. And I think that was meaningful. Maybe Deshawn makes it further than Danny, and they're going to push for, because Deshawn was willing to adapt his game to this new game or whatever. And so I stuck with Deshawn as my winner. So I'm interested to see how this Shan versus Deshawn war is going to play out. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. I'm happy Xander didn't find an advantage. He looked, but I'm happy he didn't find it because I don't need another advantage in play. We're good right now. We're good. This was good. Don't throw more stuff at it. Just chill. So yeah, I'm loving the editing though. I feel like there's even edit with both sides, which we don't get sometimes, and I'm enjoying that. I just wish that there's more relevant strategizing, so it wasn't just like, blindside at Tribal, except it's an obvious vote. They just trying to make it exciting so that it doesn't seem obvious. But yeah, that's all I got. I will see you guys next time.
Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, as Tarzan would say, the game is afoot. Old alliances are showing cracks, prime targets are becoming clear, and the individual game is in full swing. My other observations. Sales are not going well for the Evie apology tour. Pastor Shan is shaping up as the kind of shepherd who fleeces her flock. Ooh, I like that. That one bites. Evie got her wish, a lunch of high school cafeteria food with the cool kids. That's good. Okay, yeah, I like how he connected the dots there. The majority are just upset because Yase aren't stoically taking their pagonging like adults. I'll bet that when Erica plays rock, paper, scissors, she always loses to rock. Certainly that's been the case so far. Pastor Shan is good at crying. Are we sure she isn't a televangelist? For Halloween, Erica trick-or-treated as Charlie Brown. She got rocks. Yellow was the victim of Evie's pyramid scheme and the reward challenge. Xander rocked Erica's world by sitting out. Thanks to Evie, Jeff will probably spring pop quizzes in future seasons as a new twist. Xander might have found the advantage if he had limbered up with some Joe Yoga first. If Nasser can get papaya at will, why is everyone so hungry? If Nasir can get papaya at will, why is everyone so hungry? Isn't it funny how the obvious target usually gets immunity or finds a hidden idol? I'd rather eat Nasir's daughter's grilled cheese than Survivor pizza. Ricard ran afoul of the papaya Nazi. Haggling with Trader Jeff is often costly. Ricard must be a recruit if he doesn't know that taking scrounged food after eating a reward won't play well. Would women who wear high heels have an advantage in that immunity challenge? Maybe, huh? It is a similar way that you have to hold your feet up. I saw a good picture where someone had gone back and looked at Spencer, who's got the record, and how much his feet were arched versus how much Evie's were. And Evie was like dramatically up on her tiptoes. And Spencer's in shoes and his heels are just a little elevated off of that little wooden platform. So he's not stretching up tall anywhere near as much as she was to make that happen. That was an interesting picture. Jeff pinched Evie. He'll probably hear from CBS's HR department about that. It's completely appropriate that the merged tribe's name translates to hungry. When Nasir said he felt comfortable, I almost expected him to be blindsided. Deshaun wants to be heard, except when he doesn't. It's true. Would you want your pastor to consider your input and then convince you her way's best? Xander's an app developer. I don't think he's finished debugging his Betraydar app yet. Tiffany will vote with a crab, but Randy isn't playing this season. Oh, nice flashback there. In future seasons, we'll probably see whispering even after Jeff reads the votes. It seems to be trending in that direction. Ricard's lame attempt to flush Xander's idol shows why he needs a closer like Shan. Tiffany's a natural juror. She passes judgment on people based on limited information. Will the next twist be there's no loved ones visit due to COVID? Oh, that's guaranteed. There's no way they're doing a loved ones visit this season. I have a feeling that Jeff will shake things up by having a final two. I think
we thought that too.
Yeah, I think that's been out there that's the case, so we'll see. Next time, fireworks. Will we get a full explosive display or just some duds that fizzle? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna, Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. That was a great set there. Next up, we got a call from Brad.
Hey, Survivor fans, it's Brad from Los Angeles. What an episode. Can't wait to hear what everyone has to say. Xander's move to swap with Erica was so close to genius. I'm sure he's kicking himself at home with the advantage right underneath him. Wow. We see zero dynamic in the edit with Xander, Erica, and Heather, and it doesn't seem like the Yase members were trying to work those weaker players at all. I would have thought they would have been first on the list. My questions in my head are Erica and Heather just locked with their old tribe? It doesn't seem like Erica or Heather are playing at all, except for the awful attempt by Heather during Tribal, which was total Survivor player imposter syndrome, in my opinion. The second thing during the Tribal that bothered me was Ricard's horrible, in caps lock, attempt to convince Xander to play his idol twice. Could you be more obvious? Wow. Subtlety much? But then on the other hand, Ricard has shown that he can act. Maybe that was his game the whole time. I don't know. But to me, how obvious could you be? Okay, and then my last piece is I really want to talk about Eric's preview of next week. When I was analyzing the moves, I was really fearful that the People of Color Alliance would dominate and make for a predictable season because it has a rare quality based on the edit that most four-person alliances have. It's still secret. The preview shows Sham's monster ego may be coming for her in the form of Deshaun, however. The preview also shows Shan and Ricard plotting to use her extra vote. The only way that I can see that makes sense is if she has Liana and that makes 4 votes with Ricard to combat against a split vote from the other side to flush her idol. On the other side, you have Danny, Deshaun, Nasir, and maybe Heather. Who knows what she's thinking, and who knows if Nasir will work with her anymore. And potentially Xander's extra vote, and Xander, which makes 8. On a split, that would flush Shan and leave Ricard holding the bag. They'd tie with 4 votes and revote, and Ricard would go home. What do you think Xander will do? Say he'll protect Deshaun and then not use the extra vote, and Deshaun goes home? If I'm him, in the great words of Sandra, as long as it's not me, I'm good. I would love to know what you guys think. I'm sitting here with my little cork and strings, and I'm literally not able to figure this one out.
All right, thanks, Brad. Unfortunately, Brad's voicemail got a little wonky in some places. What he was saying at the end was, I'm sitting here with my cork board and my strings and the pictures and showing the connections and the possible outcomes. And so he's saying he's doing some detailed analysis there.
Oh boy, that could go so many different possibilities, different ways of and alliances. That's why I said I'm still not sure where the lines are drawn.
No.
But like I said, since I said that in the recap show, and since then I've even been looking at more and more ways that it could go, and I'm just really afraid it's not going to go the way I want.
And the twists they're talking about in the Rebus puzzle strategy section thing is going to throw it. It's throwing even another curve.
Yeah.
There's like a whole nother level of difficulty in terms of how that could play out.
Yeah. So we won't give any specifics, but
I thought it was pretty clear that the core four were going to be able to call the shots, but with the strife between Shan and Deshawn,
I'm not sure the core four is even the core four anymore.
They certainly have left us with that impression that it's in jeopardy.
Hopefully they can pull that back around.
But like Brad and several others were talking about the lack of activity that we're seeing from Erica. I'm just going to ignore that false step from Heather at Tribal Council. That's just, that was just so bad that I can't see her as being a viable strategist in the scheme of things.
Well, my thought is they're still pairing off in teams to do reward challenges, and if she ends up being a reason that people lose food,
it might just be enough that they'll toss her. Yeah.
It's like, well,
There's only two of the Yase left. We can afford to get rid of Heather so that
the hungrier Shan gets, it'd be like, no, she's out of here.
Yeah.
We could have won if it wasn't for, should that happen, then I think it'll put a huge target right on her back.
Admittedly, she did, I don't know if we even said it in the recap, but she did way better in the challenge.
She did. Maybe she's been holding back.
Got through the course.
Of course,
which
she
was
didn't
great.
play a lot of the challenges at all.
She sat out, and then that ended up being for an obvious reason. But she did well in the first one, I think. She didn't seem to be a detriment to them, at least, and then she did well in this last challenge. She certainly wasn't a weight holding them back, and she just so desperately wanted to be a part of things that she mucked up Tribal Council. I don't think there's anything more than that going on. You never want to attribute complex actions when the simple explanation was, that was a dumb move, is a much better explanation.
Like I said, my first impulse was Heather needed a little attention.
Yes, and that was some of the things that Sydney talked about in her exit interviews, was that was there, and that she was quite the talker. So to have her be quiet and then kick off and goof it so bad, just to blunder at the end, sometimes people make mistakes. I think that's a more likely explanation than anything else. Thanks, Brad. Next up, we got a call from Mike.
How's it going, Survivor fans? This is Mike over in Cromwell, Connecticut, doing the review right after the Survivor episode. My first time doing that. But there's three things certain in life, I've realized. There's death, there's taxes, and me not getting a vote out point in JSFL. Of course, I had Evie, who is safe. So the streak continues of not getting a vote out point. So there's that. Should have knew right by the start that based on last week's Next on Survivor, when Tiffany and X were saying, is it me? No, I think it's me. That was a clue that they were scrambling to fight for their lives. And I did pick up on that, but of course I voted Evie, and it doesn't matter now. But to the episode, I'm surprised Yase is no more. I mean, they went to instant free agents. I mean, good to join in the majority, but bad because you're down in the numbers and you're down on people to truly trust. But trust was splitting between the Yase. So at that point, if you really don't trust the people in your tribe, why stick with it, even though you're down in the numbers? So free agent, I guess I can understand it in this case. But it's crazy Shan and Liana want Evie out more than X, who has an idol. But Shan wanted Evie, which means Liana wanted Evie. And Liana is just Shan's puppy dog at this point. She just listens to whatever Shan says. Shan says come, she comes. Shan says sit, she sit. Liana, play your game and start realizing that Shan is playing you. Jeff, props. Please stop talking to the camera. This is Survivor. It's not a Nickelodeon game show. Please stop. And then the advantage, adding more luck to this game. The players compete, sweating, fighting, playing the game. And you sit out and you could get an advantage. Again, you don't deserve it. Like Kelly Wigglesworth or Wentworth and Jeremy in Second Chances had to find an idol to get the clue to possibly earn that idol, which means you had to go in the immunity challenge finding that immunity idol. That is earned. That is skill. Not just sitting out drawing rocks and getting advantage. So I'm happy that X didn't find it for the show standards, although I wanted X to get it because I do enjoy him. But man, I mean, wow, Shan, what a crybaby. Not getting what she wants, crying because she's not eating papaya. Ricard did make me laugh though, saying, I just want to try the papaya. I mean, my hungry mind, me always being hungry, laughed at that. The rice deal, I liked how Jeff introduced that. My USB Shan, I changed it. She is so fake. She's a manipulator. She doesn't look at people in the eyes when she talks. She needs Jesus. Oh, wait, she's a pastor. I think the devil got into her a little bit. She is rubbing me the wrong way, even though I'm still going to stick with her as my USB. Love Deshaun calling her out. She needs to be put in her place. And people are trying to play the game. It's not just her. So it's going to be interesting. But Tiffany went home, did not get a vote out point. We'll see what happens next week. Okay, episode. Hopefully you guys liked it. We'll see. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Thanks, Mike. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi, everyone. It's Noelle calling from Albuquerque. I didn't like last night's episode as much as the other episodes for the season. I feel like it was a lot of bickering, and I blame the fact that everyone is starving. They're all kind of acting like cranky toddlers. Don't eat my papaya. Don't tell me what to do. It's annoying. Somebody said last week that they have a great cast and so they don't need all these advantages. They should just let them play the game. And I agree with that. And I would add that they have a great cast and they shouldn't be starving them, because I feel like it's making them not play as well as they otherwise would. It's not good TV. Let's see. So bad move, CBS, for starving your cast and turning them from really great Survivor players to people who can barely think straight. It was really hard to tell what was going on last night. Everybody was all over the place. People are playing so poorly, in my opinion, because I feel that you should not have public spats with people in your alliance. Earlier in the season, I said that it was a bad idea for Ricard to be making it so obvious that he didn't trust Shan. And so the same logic applies here. Everybody making it obvious who they're fighting with. Nobody trusts anybody. It's going to be a really chaotic, bumpy ride, I think. I'm glad that they got rice. I don't think that they should have had to give up immunity to get it. Just as a Survivor fan, I don't feel like they need to be starving in order to make it a good viewing experience, but that's just me. Oh, I got my vote out pick so wrong. I picked Erica. Her name didn't even come up once, unlike everybody else's name. And I have no idea who to pick next week. It just seems to be they're flying from one whim to another. Maybe now that they have the rice, they'll start to settle back into a good strategy again, but it's hard to tell. I'm excited for the Deshaun and Shan showdown. It kind of did seem like she was heading for a showdown with somebody, because I think Deshaun nailed it. She really does act like she's in charge of everybody, and she kind of seems like she's on a power trip. Maybe she'll settle down with some food. We'll see. I had to pick a new USB. I was so torn. I really was like loving Xander's performance in the last episode, but then I said to myself, don't pick a USB just based on one good episode, because you might regret it. And I ended up feeling glad I didn't pick Xander, because I thought it was a really bad move that he sat out of the reward and immunity. What is he thinking? He didn't even get anything for it. And then Jeff building up that suspense about the advantage. Here I was ready to jump off the couch with excitement after Xander found it. I couldn't wait to hear what it was. And then he didn't even find it. Oh my gosh, that was such a huge bummer. And I'm surprised Erica didn't think of that either, although I probably wouldn't have, and I've been eating, plenty of meals. Everybody have a great week, and talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Noelle. Next up, we got a quick call from Jody.
Hey Survivor family, so it's Jody in Brisbane, and I've discovered that playing Survivor is a lot like moving house. Like, you're trying to clean out the pantry and you think that thing looks marvellous, it's so clean, there's nothing there, but you really need to examine every surface. So there is a whopping chunk of something right very there, and I have no idea what it is, but still have to get it off. Anyway, no time to delve any deeper, just my little random thoughts. Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend, and yeah, where are we going from here? Catches.
All right, good luck with the move there, Jody.
Yeah.
I do not envy that. Oof.
Nope. Next up, we got an email from Jade-n-Christine in Hawaii.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's just Jade here writing in for me and Christine. We couldn't find time to record, but here's some quick thoughts. We were so annoyed with Heather starting up an unnecessary live tribal eye roll. Just sit down, Heather.
Yeah, sit down, Heather.
Showing Xander not finding advantage was a waste of time. We would have preferred more time at camp, but we did enjoy his theory about bonding with the losers. Grilled cheese and a handful of chips would seem like a pretty crappy reward in most recent seasons, but with as little as they've been getting this season, it must have been amazing. Jade got her first vote out point of the season.
Oh, congrats.
Will Evie be able to hang in there for the win? We doubt it, but she's fun to watch and we're looking forward to next week. Thanks to everyone for always giving such great feedback. All right, thanks Jade-n-Christine. Now, up next, we have an audio from Jill.
Hi Joanne and Stacey, hi Survivor fans, Jill in the Outback here. I enjoyed this episode again this week. I think this season has thrown up a couple of fizzes and we're all a little bit worried about where it was heading, but I think they're back on track. Xander is really coming into his own the last couple of weeks. He's shown that he can be quite tactical and a whole lot of forethought, and I think he probably knew that there was an advantage on that, like by sitting out that challenge, but he could have looked a little bit harder. He was way at one end of the course when the challenge started. He should have been down on his hands and knees having a good look when he wasn't very close for them to see what he was up to. I think at the start of the season in an interview he said that he was going to play it all a little bit dumb, and I think he's got everyone fooled. And he must have nerves of steel to not play his idol the last couple of weeks. But points to Ricard for him trying to get Xander to play it. That was hilarious. Go on, play it. Go on. I think you should play it. Ricard did get himself in a little bit of trouble by having some of the fruit at the camp after coming back from the reward. Like, I understand that they probably shouldn't, but like, he hardly sat down and whipped out a knife and fork, did he? He had a little bit of a taste. I think Sian likes everything her way, and yeah, it's not going to do her any favours. It looks, by the looks of the next week's teaser too. I liked the negotiating at the start of the immunity challenge, and I did feel sorry for the people who built that set for the whole challenge to last barely 4 minutes, as Jeff put it. Seems a lot of work for a little payoff. I don't reckon I could have rolled my eyes any harder when Heather jumped up after Jeff had said, "Rightio, now let's vote," and she starts it all off again. I don't think she did anything other than put a target on her own back. She'd been flying under the radar for so long, and she puts herself front and centre that way. So I think she might be in a little bit of trouble next week because of that, and Evie and Xander are going to survive the week again somehow. Next week we get to see Deshaun channel his inner 12-year-old boy and not want to do something because somebody's asked him to do it. It's always funny how the team or the people that you think are at the top always sort of fall to a bit of infighting. That'll do me for the week. I'll go and work out why it's taken me about 20 minutes to do a 2.5-minute talk. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Jill. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. It's Jeremiah here, coming to you from LAX as I get ready to depart back to my hometown of Missouri to have a little grad party for my daughter, who I'm very proud of. I had a few moments here as I'm getting really close to boarding. Wanted to drop a line in to let everybody know I definitely enjoyed the episode. I'm sure pretty much most people did. So close. I had Evie as a vote-off point. Definitely missed that one, but obviously Tiffany was on my radar, but oh well, that's okay. But the biggest mistake, and Stacy, you'll get some gratitude from this, is I completely forgot to change my USB. As you know, I kind of felt like Ricard probably was not going to win at this point, and I was thinking about giving up my 24 points. But I completely forgot. I mentioned this on Facebook with Nina. She also forgot as well. Oh well, to be honest with you, I was between Shan and Deshaun, so if one of those two wins, then I'll feel bad about it. But otherwise, what can I do? Sorry about the overhead there. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt my audio too much. All right, but anyway, so Stacy, you'll get some gratitude out of the fact that I completely forgot to change my USB. So who knows? Maybe it will be a blessing in disguise. Maybe somehow Ricard will win. You never know. It's always possible. But I tell you what, though, it wasn't a great episode for Ricard, right? That was a little embarrassing with the whole thing with the papaya. Hello, bro, I don't know what show you've been watching. Food etiquette is a huge thing on Survivor. Don't do that. I mean, you know what? Wait till you get home. Go to the grocery store. Most grocery stores have papaya, bro. It's with the other fruits. It's cool, man. Just buy it, try it, okay? They're actually pretty good. Okay, so the big thing about this episode was the fall of the Yasa tribe. Wow. They really turned on each other quick, didn't they? Very interesting. You know, I know Tiffany, of course, is very salty still today about all of that. But to be honest with you, when you look at people like, well, especially when you look at Xander's position, this kid's kind of surprising me. I honestly don't know how he survived this whole thing and at least not have to use his idol. That was impressive. So I don't know what's going on with that. But hey, it was fun to watch for sure. Now he's really high on my radar because if the rest of the tribe start imploding, hey, this could really go very well for him. One thing in particular that could help him is the fact that Shan and Dushan are really in a pickle there as far as their relationship. Probably both think they're in charge of that alliance there, and that's going to come unwind here pretty soon, I think. Originally, of course, we all thought that Shan would either turn on Ricard or Ricard would turn on Shan. Now I'm thinking that Shan might be in trouble because I think Deshawn is going to turn on her very, very soon. But that's not my prediction for next week. My prediction is, of course, Evie will be our person voted out. All right, well, I've rambled on too long. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And until next time, this is Jeremiah from a very noisy LAX.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi everyone, this is Jen in California. What on earth was Heather trying to do at Tribal Council? That just came out of left field. I don't know what happened there. I mean, I don't know what happened because she ended up voting Tiffany in the end. I'm not surprised that she tried to do something because I would have been upset if somebody threw me under the bus the way Shan threw her under the bus, using her as a decoy. I don't know what kind of Survivor player I really would be, but I can tell you this, I would never let someone use my name as a decoy. Absolutely not. So in that way, Heather finding a voice and some fight in herself, I thought that was great. But we don't have enough background information on Heather to really kind of have gotten behind this move that she made. And I don't know who to blame for that. I don't know whether to blame production or to blame Heather herself for not really being interesting enough for them to find footage. It just seemed a little bit disjointed. But I guess that's what you get when you let survivors constantly get up and talk to each other and have live tribals. If a player who's generally inconsequential wants to get up and cause some drama, even if it doesn't fit your narrative, I guess it's kind of hard to just cut that out of an episode. So other things that caught my eye during this episode. So at the beginning of the episode, Leanna says, well, if survivor is a verb, and then she didn't use survivor as a verb. She used it as a noun, so I don't know quite what she was trying to say there. I think she was trying to say, well, I just got survivored, but she didn't say that, so it just ended up kind of making her look not so smart. And at the reward challenge, more Jeff talking to us. I just hate it. And I don't like seeing the boats bringing the survivors into a challenge. I just think it breaks the fourth wall. I like just seeing them magically show up on the platform as if there's nobody out there to help them. And I just feel like Jeff is trying so hard to be friends with them. I mean, that's the vibe he's giving off, and I don't like it. You're the host, Jeff. You're not their buddy. I wasn't particularly a fan of the bartering for rice idea. I just think it's just Jeff wanting to insert himself into the game. I just feel like Jeff is drawing the focus to himself rather than allowing us to see the Survivor contestants as being front and center. It's like he's front and center. And I've just never felt that as strongly as I have this season. I like the merge name, Via Kana. I think it's pretty cool. I think we've had some pretty lame merge names, but this is not a lame one. This is a nice one. And for my final shot, Shan is being so controlling. I want her to be voted out so soon. Sorry, Stacy, and everyone who chose her as a USB. But I just get this vibe that she just thinks she is smarter than everyone else and she has this game figured out. I want some people to be brave and just finally take that leap and vote her out. I can just imagine how offended Deshawn felt having her speak to him like that during Tribal Council. Yikes. I think there's going to be a point in time when he and others have had enough. Anyway, that's it for me, and I can't wait to hear what others have to say. Till next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jen.
I guess, like Heather, Jeff needs a little attention.
Yeah, definitely. I've been thinking about that because of the way this season's gone and all this goofiness, but do you remember when he was blogging? This is many, many years ago, and he was writing his own Survivor blog. I can remember reading that and thinking, he seems like he's a teenager, just in how he writes and the things that he chooses to phrase things, and how he sets up what he's sharing, and to the degree he's sharing. And then at the beginning of this season, in one of the, I think it was an EW interview with Dalton, he was talking about how he channels his alter ego Survivor guy, and that's how he does all the things that he does for the show. And it's like, really? Ugh. And then you see the results of all these botched advantages and this goofiness, and it's like, he's trying. And like Jen was saying, he does seem like he's trying to be friends with them a whole lot this season, as opposed to how he's treated in the past, where he was screaming at people for doing so awful.
Maybe because they're abusing them much more with the lack of food.
It like triggered the sympathy because he realized he really boogered this one up with not feeding them.
And the constant challenges,
Yeah, the pace.
We don't think about it, but before they had time in between, and now they're not having a lot of time.
Right, yeah. It's not a lot of downtime. Yeah.
And that does make a difference, especially with the lack of food.
Yeah, has to be a compounding factor for sure. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here, and I've got to say, I did enjoy the episode. I suspected Tribal would be all over the place, but I didn't suspect that Tiffany would be the one to go. I really do like Xander, but come on, buddy, open your eyes. He was so close to finding that advantage that I actually have to wonder if maybe he did find it, and then said to himself, I'm not touching that thing and losing any more of my votes. I so want him to think about only himself from here on out. I guess I'm trying to say that I like the guy, but he's just too trusting and willing to share. As for Heather, well, here's what I think. After her cameraman fell asleep on her for like the 7th or 8th time, she finally realized that she was going to be invisible. So she decided that she needed to get some attention. All throughout Tribal, she must have been thinking, no, not yet, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And then she heard Jeff say, let's vote. And she panicked and just dove into water that was way too deep for her. Well, at any rate, she got 2 people to notice her because she now has votes against her. Personally, she can disappear again, which would be no problem for me. And Ricard, that's another player who couldn't seem to help himself by overselling his player idol Xander bit. And his coming back from the challenge reward and helping himself to the papaya? Come on, man. Don't eat food that you didn't gather unless it's offered to you. I never thought much of him, but wow. Let's talk about how entitled he came off with that one single move. On second thought, let's not. And Chantel talking to Deshawn, who, by the way, is my new USB. Well, Shan used all the right words, but they so very obviously meant nothing to her. She needs to rehearse her I care what you think spiel a whole lot more to make it sound more believable. But you know what did come off as well rehearsed, besides her crying? Her spewing out Jeff's season 41 taglines for some extra camera time. But even that came across as transparent. So, hey, spoiler alert here. I have Shan locked and loaded as the next member of our jury. When she gets called out, she spews out a few frilly words with a total lack of sincerity, and I think that her overplaying the game and underestimating everyone's intelligence is going to bite her on the butt this week. So to wrap this all up, I think that this is one very divided tribe. But we're now at 5 men versus 5 women. If things go as I hope, Danny, who was so very close to being my new USB, will be able to rest a little more easily. Of course, that probably means that Nasir will have his neck further up on the chopping block. I wish I knew why no one seems to like him, because I honestly do. And I guess that's it for me. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
I do not see even a remote possibility of a all-male or all-female alliance.
No,
taking over.
Yeah, they're really gun-shy about the idols, obviously. And I think Heather really threw such a wrench in the works, like several people were talking about, that they would have potentially flushed Xander's idol. But then it all went sideways when she goofed that in just a weak attempt to try to save Tiffany.
Are you saying you think he would have played it had she not done that and brought up Nasir's name?
Spooked him to, yeah. Yeah, I think she set it off in a different direction. There should have been an idol flushed. Tiffany was adamant about that in all her exit interviews, and even the Ponderosa.
It's true. Typically there would have been.
Yeah, this isn't an inexperienced, or they don't lack knowledge about the game. They understand the game and how to play it, and they obviously understand how to split votes. But yeah, she just really wrecked the flow.
With Shan controlling so much of, what's going on, she's got her ideas out there with everyone, and she's got an idol. So maybe she's not wanting to highlight, we need to get the idol out, because she's got one too.
Yeah, yep.
So maybe she's not wanting people to focus on that.
She's deflecting and trying to get them to look in a different direction.
Just Ricard who was trying to get Xander to, as a side note.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, you better play it. You better play it.
That can't end well for him with Xander. Xander's not a dum-dum. He said he was going to play dumb, and I think, like several folks are talking about in the feedback this week, people are thinking that about him. But obviously, I didn't even see how calculated it was to volunteer to sit out at that challenge, but he clearly wanted to try for an advantage, even though it didn't pay off, unfortunately. He went, they showed us him checking for it.
Yeah, I like that he's thinking things through in advance before the decision.
And the whole, hey, I want to work, I want to get some time with the losers so that I can work that for potential alliances.
I think it's smart.
Again, that's a move ahead on the board that he was thinking.
Check, but who are the losers? I'm not sure at this point. I don't know who's on the out. Like I said, I don't know where the lines are drawn.
Yeah, they are definitely still unclear.
I think
they're
lot
hiding.
of the lines are crisscrossing.
Yeah, I hope they're not forcefully hiding that in the edit, like that it's really clear for the castaways, but they're wanting to hide it from us to help build the suspense to make for a more enjoyable tribal council.
Have done that.
Yeah, they have, and the end result ends up being, so what'll happen is we'll enjoy it along the way, but then you get to the end result and you're like, wait a minute, how did we get here? How did this be in the outcome?
You've never gotten over Micronesia.
And the outcome, well, yeah, for multiple reasons.
Because we were blindsided.
Yeah, exactly. But that kind of thing has happened again and again because the edit will mislead you. So you're having fun along the way, and then you get to the end, and it's like, whoa, this doesn't add up at all. The math's all wrong for how this played out. There's an extra video. I think I can find a link to it, but I think it's the one that'll play on the EW interview with Tiffany, but the extra video where they explain the name Viacana.
Oh yeah, that's a good video.
It's a really good extra. So you get the Ponderosa extra and you get the Viacana explanation extra this week. And I'll try to find another link to that too, because you never know when those EW videos are going to
that was
rotate.
Pretty cool that Erica really wanted to be the one to name the merged tribe. And
yeah, she put that effort in, right? Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
and everybody liked it. It really was good. So
yeah, there wasn't one person that had a problem. And that flag is awesome. The decoration, all the fine detail, and Ricard's got a great hand. So he did the big text in the center, the name of the tribe.
Nasir was doing some stuff.
Yeah, Nasir and Xander were doing detailed work on the edges, and so it was definitely, it felt a level beyond the play school. We'll dip our hands in paint thing and then write our names down. It
which Tiffany suggested.
That. Yeah, sure. Which is
let's put our palms on there.
I get that. But I'm just saying they went above and beyond in the artistic realm for this one. I really enjoyed it.
And good on Erica. I really enjoyed that. And researching what hungry means in Fijian.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool because that's one thing that everybody knows is going to happen. You're going to be hungry.
Mm-hmm. And even more so magnified this season, huh?
Right. They didn't know they were going to be that hungry. But okay, fine.
Well, and she had thought about it in multiple dimensions too. So
right.
All right, well, we're looking forward to the next episode, but we want to thank everyone who took the time to share your thoughts and predictions today. We enjoyed it. We appreciate hearing from all of you and the different perspectives. Looking forward to doing this again.
And if you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 9 selections for one person who will be voted off and 4 people you think will still be in the game at the end of the episode.
If you want to come be a part of these listener feedback episodes that we do on Saturdays, you can call and leave a voicemail, 206-350-1547, toll free, 844-643-8737. You can record it, get the best audio that way usually, and then attach that recording that you make to an email, or if you're not ready to go the audio route, you can just type it up in an email and send it to us at joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due Pacific time, noon Pacific on Saturdays.
All right. Anything else you want to say about the episode, or shall we wrap it up?
Definitely. Also, I'll add one thing. If you haven't been, definitely go check out the Rebus puzzles and the strategy videos, because they're giving you a little extra there.
Yeah.
And when we're so hungry for
information
and content,
they do try to give you a little clue for the next week.
Yeah, it'll be some
Nothing
hint
big that it would be a spoiler.
Not necessarily spoilers.
No, just a little insight.
Yeah, in terms of what you may see, like there's a twist coming kind of thing. All right, there we go. Have a good one.